Your communicates and sells. So communicates and sells is the principle I came up with. Actually, a friend challenged me on a sales process. Now my sales process is I'm going to meet you, date you, and close you all in one. And like an accordion, it was very very small, right? But as I was going through my sales outline with him and we were coming up with some scripts, he forced me to draw that out and he said, I'm not trying to close them right now. I'm trying to create a relationship. And so I saw in my mind's eye, I saw my accordion just go out over a period of time. Oh, and that to me is marketing. That time lapse is your marketing. Um, and it really forced me to start looking for elements, basic elements inside the sales process. So I'm going to go through my sales process. I'm also going to go through my elements. It's all in one, right? Um, so I was complicating that until my son at the store, I used him as a sounding board, and we were observing all the different marketing around us, and he points to a for sale sign, and he says, "What about that, Dad?" I said, "Well, that doesn't count. That's just the basic for something's on sale, right?" They marked it down. He's like, "Yeah, but they're still trying to sell you something," and in that moment, it clicked, and instead of coming up with elements for a sell, I realized it's elements for communication. And all that just became, I just had this flood of knowledge I've collected over the years come through my brain, and it just made so much sense. So, communicates and sells. What is that? I'm going to go through my sales process real quick, hopefully. Um, and this is, I use this outline all the time. You throw in different elements because elements can change, right? You could have a big old bucket of water, you could have a drop of water, it could be evaporated, it could be frozen, it could be liquid, right? But so here's my outline. Who am I and why am I calling? Really basic, okay? Um, there's something on here. I gotta add here in a second. I just realized. But and then the intro to the company and the credibility piece. So that real quick. I'm a local painter. My name's Josh. Right. Our company we've been in the area for 30 years, painting houses just like yours. Right. There's many elements in the credibility you can throw in. We've just noticed that there's been a lot of painting companies showing up, and let me tell you about some of the problems that we're starting to see that the house next door is pilling, right? And so it's just not good quality, right? And so what we do, and let me tell you kind of the solution and what we use to counteract that, and then the experience. Let's just walk around your house real quick. Is there anything you need to paint, right? Go ahead and touch that wall. How does that feel? Look at this. I'm going to put the flashlight on your wall. Look at that. Look at these paint marks, right? Um, and what we do is we're going to come in and we're going to sand things and we're going to make not get the paint marks, right? And what that's going to do for you. So now they're experiencing the features and the benefits with me. I'm walking them through their own story of how this experience is going to benefit them, right? How does that sound? Oh well, and then they might push back, and so I'm just gonna come up to the experience, the features. Well, what else would you like to see? Well, I had this painter come in and they painted over the spot, and it looks horrible because it wasn't finished right. Right. Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely look at that. We'll definitely take care of it for you. That way, that in 2 years, 3 years, you're gonna love it still, right? How does that sound? Good. Okay. And then I'm gonna walk through the close, credit or debit, sign here, and that's my basic outline. So, but what if it's a long drawn out process? Um, and so, what elements are you going to carry out through each piece of communication? So you got to have a story. We just kind of walk the client through their own story, right? We could have in the needs and solutions a story about a past client and their experience with us. Our our credibility piece could be a story, right? And stories come with you could have a visual. That's a very broad element there, right? You could have an experience that a client had, a visual, bullet points. There's many ways to use this element. Speed dating, we got to be connecting emotionally, right? If I notice that the client starts to drift off or is not engaged, I want to draw that back in. I want to make sure we're having a good date, okay? Empathy, right? Notice those emotional moments, right? Whether it's a lack of or having an emotion, acknowledge that, talk to them about that, get their thought process behind that emotion. And then at the end, right, we're in this together. I want to make sure that you're completely satisfied. I guarantee my work. I want to be your person. I want to be there for you. I want to be there with you, right? Talk less. Uh, if you're talking for 30 seconds without a client reacting or drawing that back in the speed dating, okay, you're talking too much. I really believe that it should be like an 8 second spurts. It's really almost impossible to do that, but if you're focused on that condensed time period where you're not engaging, it helps a ton. And that's what's creating the long-term relationship. Are they going to come back and buy from you again? Are they going to um, refer you? Can you upsell them, right? Um, and then the other thing that's not here that I forgot is actually something up here in the who am I and why am I calling. You got to have a tangible reason for calling somebody, okay? It could be an email I sent you, just following up on it. Hey, we had a conversation last time. I have these metrics that you came up on. Let's talk about those metrics. A tangible reason to be bugging somebody. That's part of the empathy element as well, right? And you got to acknowledge, I got a real reason to be calling on you. Okay, I was just in the area. Hey, so and so over there told me to knock on your door. The salespeople do it all the time. Hey, I see you got a cell phone. What? It's got to be a tangible reason to initiate the conversation. So that's not on the list. Has to be on the list though. There it is. Your communicates and sells 101. You get what I'm talking about.